Professor Patrick Smith, our guest. He is a professor at Simon Fraser University, former head of the Department of Political Science. Now the Institute for Governance?
Governance Studies.
Governance Studies, which means?
It's a research institution that looks at the various aspects of governance, different projects that run through it. We've done work on the local government election financing. We've done a variety of different projects that are research focused and bring together researchers.
Okay, back to the debate. Do you think voters care if Prime Minister Harper is a control freak? That was the thread that ran through. I mean, Ignatieff said very clearly, you shut down what you can't control. You're not listening to us. And Duceppe said it, and Layton said it time and again. So do you think voters care?
I think they care if he's doing things that produce other problems, whether they're legal ones with in and out schemes or whatever with regard to election funding. So almost any person who's going to be a premier, Gordon Campbell left office being charged with being a control freak. I think party caucuses are rather loose entities, and so you do need some degree of control. I don't think that's the issue, and I think Canadians would understand that. Canadians are fairly sensible people, I think, about these things. But it seems to me Mr. Harper has taken it to a fault, and that's why it's become a point that other parties can score points off of, because people realize that he's doing things like the proroguing. If you think back to 2 years ago, the kind of instant outrage on the part of Canadians about the proroguing. It was, this isn't going to work for me, so I'm going to cancel it and we'll start over again.
There was a lot of it's simply not true, it's simply not true. It's true, it's simply not true. And I thought, as a voter, what is true? Because I know you're all trying to get elected and to get my vote and all of that and to impress me, but what is the truth here? And how will I know? Where do I find it?
Well, I think partly, I thought the debate was long enough last night that there were enough kinds of interactions that anybody kind of listening attentively would be able to form an opinion.
Exactly, I agree. Kernels.
Yeah, there was enough in that. And I thought particularly the second half, which was a little more focused on some of the policy issues, would help people try to understand. But also just in terms of your point about character and trustworthiness and control and all those things.
And who we want on the world stage.
Yeah.
Who do we want negotiating with President Obama or talking to President Obama, or who do we want in Libya? Who do we want to represent us somewhere else?
Yeah, or about the world environment or whatever. So
climate change. Yeah. Nobody really weighed in too much.
Not much on that one at all. No, I agree. I mean, to be fair to the leaders, they were stuck with the 6 questions that the consortium had picked from a group of Canadians. They were fairly good questions in the sense that they posed broad issues.
Right. What is your vision for Canada on the world stage?
Yeah.
How do you plan to work together?
Yeah.
Well, that didn't look like that was working out all that well.
No.
The health accord, of course.
Yeah.
One more, safety on the streets.
Yes.
How to deal with crime and light sentences.
Yeah. And Jack Layton threw one in at the end, which was, if you don't like this system, what about PR? That was kind of interesting.
Yes, it was. Or maybe I could give you my crutch if it doesn't all work out.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Ignatieff got off a good shot when he said, well, you'll always be in opposition, so why should we care? And the other great shot from Harper, or no, Layton, I think it was, who said to Mr. Ignatieff, you are Harper's best friend.
Oh, yes.
Harper did not acknowledge that.
Yeah.
You may have noticed.
Yeah. And then the charge by about days sitting in the House at the end. So you certainly again.
Yes, that Ignatieff hadn't been in the House as much as the others. What was that about?
Yeah, and I think Layton had said maybe 70%. I think it was 15. Someone did the count. It was 59.5% or something of the votes he missed.
Devil's in the details, I suspect, and not much about abolishing the Senate.
No, the only time the Senate came up with those 2 crooks.
Women's rights, First Nations issues, not really addressed, rarely.
No, in fact, Jack Layton brought it up late on from the statement that the chief of the Assembly of First Nations had made some comments about providing basic, educational and social and physical needs, water needs. So, those just mentioned.
Who do you think garnered the ethnic votes, the most ethnic votes? Who spoke to the immigrants, to the family reunification the best?
I thought perhaps Leighton and Ignatia both had good takes on those things, and they both spoke to the audience that they were hoping to speak to. Mr. Duceppe had some particular issues around integration of immigrants that I think for some immigrants would present
doesn't work
problems.
Multiculturalism doesn't work in Quebec.
Exactly.
I mean, that statement.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it was interesting, but it's so early. Do you think it will affect the election in any way?
For me, it's the kind of official start of the election. We've had the unofficial, we've had the soft election up till now, and there's been jockeying, but I think I haven't seen the figures on how many watched the debate last night, but I suspect it was fairly high, and I suspect for a lot of people that they will now be a bit more attuned. So what happens, even in the French debate, even though most English Canadians won't watch it,
Right.
it will be the reporting of it and what happens in the week following. I think the debates are going to inform the next week and a half of the election in terms of what leaders do.
But there is that hockey game.
Oh, I know. That's
You
perfect.
know.
Yeah. We can't accommodate the Greens, but we can accommodate
hockey.
Les Glorieux.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks, Faye.
Professor Patrick Smith from Simon Fraser University, Professor of Political Science.